Hello, Newton North juniors and Newton North family members. This is a presentation on navigating Naviance for Newton North juniors. My name is Kyle Greenidge. Many of you have me as your child's school counselor. You will also hear the voices of Nancy Decoteau and Kara Slawski. So we just wanted to give you a nice little breakdown of Naviance and what juniors should be looking forward to, could be looking forward to as the year goes on. So what is Naviance? So Naviance is a web-based electronic resource that provides college and career college planning. So essentially Naviance was introduced to students during their freshman year. So that's when we do the basics, which is just getting them signed on to Naviance, getting them familiar with the platform. And as the years go on, they become more and more familiar with the platform. So that way, once junior year comes around and senior year, not many questions are asked, and we just ask them to go in and do whatever they need to do for sending things off to colleges, making sure resumes and whatnot are all complete in that system as well. So like I said, students are able to set up their own account and customize Naviance for their needs. One of the most important things about this is parents and guardians need to have conversations with their kids about their passwords. So essentially reaching out to your kid's school counselor for a password is not the route to go. The route to go and to wander down is to have conversations to make sure that everybody is on the same page. That way, you know what your kid is doing, and that way we can assure that everybody is on the same page. Um, so for parents and guardians, they can access Naviance as a guest using the password Tiger. The link to Naviance is also on the school website. If you need help navigating that, you can definitely reach out to your school counselor, your child's school counselor, so that way you can kind of navigate the website for you. And Naviance is also used as a communication tool, like I said before, between counselors, students. So we often post events, mostly for some of the more college related things. So that way students know when some college reps will be present during some of the lunches. So that way they can get whatever FaceTime that they need or feel like they want. So that way they can learn more about that specific college itself. So how will it be useful to me? Completing the career and interest inventories can help to get some useful information on potential careers and majors, maintain records of activities, test scores, and college and career interests. One of the most important parts of Naviance, I would say, is creating a resume that comes into play once students start to create I'm blanking on it, start to create their Common App application. So that way they're not trying to remember everything that they've done for high school. It should be all centralized in Naviance, so that way that just makes the process a lot easier. Also, scholarships and jobs and whatever summer programs available to students are posted on Naviance as well. Um, Research for colleges, you can save searches, compare some data, compare test scores, some GPAs, looking into the Scattergrams, which we'll get into a little bit later, and just trying to figure out um, what schools will be best fits for them, as well as some of the other data that Naviance provides, and getting updates on meetings, college visits, events, and part-time jobs for students as well. So logging into Naviance, just follow that link that you see on the screen. And if you need any assistance, there's another link below that as well. And what we like to do is, sit down with students to make sure they have the proper password. I know that a lot of times that students forget their password or forget their email. So if that's the case, reaching out to your school counselor so that we can help troubleshoot that process is the best bet. But we also like to have students just remember the emails and passwords, because it's going to get a lot more important once they start applying to schools, because that's when the bulk of communication comes through their email. So if they don't check their email, chances are they may be missing some important information, and to share some documents with them as well. And this is the login screen. If you don't see a tiger walking above the Welcome to Naviance student, that means you're on the wrong page. There are some other Newton Norths around the country. So just make sure you see that tiger walking. And if you see that, then you're in the right place.
Hi, everyone. This is Nancy Decoteau, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you're going to see on some of the Naviance pages. This is the home screen. So when you and your student log into Naviance, this is the first screen that they'll see. Again, where it says Hello Juniors, this is the area where there's any upcoming meetings scheduled, virtual college visits during the lunch waves, any news and updates that will be under the Hello Junior section. The favorites will all say the same, colleges and the careers and clusters. And then right underneath it, if this is split between two slides, it's what's new and if there's anything new going on. So if your student signed up for a virtual college visit, that will come out, or if there's upcoming college visits coming up with reps coming, those will be posted there and students will be able to register for them. And on the very bottom, there's links for the Common Application, a list of schools that are test optional, a list to access the ACT, the College Board, which is for SAT subject tests and just regular SATs. It also gives you links to pages if you and your student are interested in learning more about gap years, any job postings for them that are available in the area, outside scholarships that are available to them, which is mostly during their senior year, and any summer opportunities that are available. So there's a lot of information on the main page, but as you can see, it's very easy to access. One of the things also that students have access to is under the careers tab. So when you click on careers tab, you can, it allows them to explore careers and their interests. As sophomores, we had seminars where students were able to do a career interest profiler, which just allowed them more to narrow down on just some things that they were interested in. This was not the be all end all of their interests, but it allowed them to start thinking about maybe what areas they might be interested in. There's also the do what you are for personality type indicator, just for them to learn a little bit more about themselves. The career cluster finder is really great for students if they're not really sure what they're interested in, but they have an idea. So if a student was really interested in maybe the marketing field, they can learn more about the marketing field, and that would give them an overview of what it is, some related occupations, what the employment outlook would be, and what the related majors may be if they're interested in, let's say, marketing. Where the career interest profiler explore specific careers. So students could either type in a career they're interested in or look from a drop-down list of careers. So if they were interested in, let's say, marine engineer, it would give them an overview of what that career was, some of the skills and tasks necessary if you were going to go into that career, and what the salary scale was. And the other tab that students have access to is the About Me tab. So this is where if they create a resume, which we started with them earlier in their high school career, and like Mr. Greenidge said, we encourage them to continue to add to it, because for Common App and for any scholarships, many of them require resumes. So it's good to have it already done. The resumes are stored here, as well as any testing scores. So your PSATs, SATs, ACTs are here. They can keep track of all their college documents and deadlines here as well. Any results of the Do What You Are, or the career interest profiler that they take, they'll have access there. We'll do a junior survey for them. They'll have access to their survey results in this area as well. So it houses a lot of things for them. If they want to use the journal entry to kind of keep track of just notes for colleges while they're searching, or careers, they can kind of jot down notes, and it's easy access to kind of an outline or just their notes of, where their thoughts are at the process when they're looking at colleges or anything like that. So it's a lot of information that they can keep. They have easy access to in Naviance. And so it's great for them to use.
Hi, everybody. Kira Slawski here. So as we continue to explore Naviance, one thing we definitely encourage students to do is to log on to be able to search for colleges, compare different colleges, and then Naviance is definitely used in the application process. So typically, we work with the students to help them start a college search, and they can keep it as broad as possible. We're not at a stage yet where we're expecting students to have a finalized list, but we just want students to be able to play around with Naviance and get to know the ways that they're going to be able to search for colleges based on location and interest and size, specific characteristics that colleges may have. As you can see here, it gets specific in terms of if a student is only interested in four-year colleges or two-year colleges, public or private, campus surroundings. We also definitely encourage students, if they're not sure what they would be looking for campus surroundings. We are lucky in the Boston area that we have a number of different types of schools so that students can visit different campuses, try to get a sense of what it would be like to go to school in Boston proper versus maybe a suburb or a smaller school, something that's around the size of Newton North versus something that's significantly larger. So this is definitely, as juniors are becoming more and more involved with the process of planning life for after Newton North, they will become more and more adept and comfortable with Naviance, and we'll continue to find that there are a number of tools that can be specifically geared towards your particular child or student. One other thing, so when we are using the colleges tab, again, we can do searches, research colleges, and access college websites. What you'll find about Naviance is that it's twofold. One, there is generic information that's available for all colleges. Kind of in a nutshell, will expose students to what a college is all about. The beauty of Naviance, however, is that we also have information based on previous Newton North graduates who have applied to the different schools. And so, as I'll show you in a moment, Naviance allows us as Newton North students to see, comparatively speaking to our peers in past years, how we may realistically fare depending upon some specific characteristics that we're bringing to the college as an applicant. So getting back to the college tabs, you can compare the various college statistics. You can access different maps of colleges. And one thing we are going to be working with students on doing, and certainly when they have an appointment with the College of Career Center counselor, they will start a list of colleges that they're thinking about. And then ultimately, when they've decided upon their list, Naviance will be updated to reflect the schools that students are applying to. In a moment, we'll get to the scattergrams, but just in a nutshell, what the scattergrams are going to show you will be how Newton North students in the past have done with respect to admissions and colleges. And so that will probably make a little bit more sense in our next slide when I show you the scattergrams. Okay, so the scattergram is what we use to help students balance and manage their expectations as they're looking at various schools. We use Naviance as a point of reference. I always try to remind students that this is not kind of the end all be all of all information. It is incredibly helpful though when we look at students who have applied to certain colleges from Newton North. So for instance, we're using UMass Boston for this example. And you can see for the years 2016, 17, and 18, how many students applied to UMass Boston. And then there is a key that will help explain what some of these characteristics mean when you're looking at this scattergram. If you look carefully, you can see a blue circle face. That would be if I was a student logging on, that would be where I was represented. And then as you look through the key, you can see, so for students in the past who have applied to this school, were they either accepted initially, were they rejected, were they deferred? And that is all going to be based on a student's GPA and SAT testing scores. So again, it's with a grain of salt because some schools are test optional, and so this may not necessarily apply. But students have found this really, it helps it kind of narrow down from a wide thought of whether or not a student has a chance to apply. And as we work with the college and career counselors and our students to help them create a final list, we definitely want to make sure that they're including schools that are a bit of a reach, some that are more likely, and some that we consider to be right on target, somewhat previously known as a safety school, although we found that there really aren't safety schools at this day and age. However, we definitely use the scattergram to help students understand why we and the college career counselors are putting colleges in various categories based on our anticipation of how we think they may do when it comes to applying to these various schools. So eventually down the road, and you'll learn more about this from your children will learn more about this from their counselors, and counselors will be there throughout the spring to help meet individually with students to help them understand how this works. But Naviance will help track the transcripts. So transcripts go directly from Naviance to the various schools that students are applying to. It works together with the Common Application and other college applications. So in the fall, students will learn how they can request for transcripts to be sent from Naviance to the various schools. In addition, once a student has requested a transcript, Newton North through Naviance will send the transcript, the school profile, the student's senior year schedule, the counselor statement that your counselors will be writing for all students, and teachers' letters of recommendation will also go directly through Naviance. So students will learn how they can request teachers to send their letters of recommendation, and the process will be happening later this spring for students to ask teachers for a formal letter of recommendation. All of that information is housed in Naviance and goes directly to the school once a student has requested a transcript. We'll go over this, we'll cover this during junior seminars, and certainly in the senior fall, once we're getting to the place of actually applying, students will have a lot more information and concrete next steps. And in a nutshell, Naviance helps us leave our legacy based on the hard work that everyone's been doing, and helps us recognize that everyone has a place and a plan. We work very closely with students so that they have options. From the years where all of the counselors have been doing this, we will definitely say that there is a good place for every student. So we'll work together with Naviance and personally, individually, and again with our college and career counselors, who are an excellent resource to make sure that we support your child through this really exciting, albeit sometimes nerve-wracking process. So we would imagine that there are going to be some questions. Luckily, there are some resources that we are very fortunate to be able to refer to. So there is a college planning guide that some families may have the hard copy. Certainly the updated online copy is updated each year. There is a wealth of research and knowledge there. We don't expect students or families to read it from front to back. However, if you are looking for specific information about any different type of topic, you can log on to the Newton North website and the counseling webpage, and the college planning guide will be there. It's a great resource. Chapter 2 specifically has all the details that you will need regarding Naviance. And as always, as school counselors, we are here to support in collaboration with our college counselors. Any questions, any guidance, each child will move at their own pace. Our goal, though, with Naviance in this presentation is to provide you as a family and as a student with as much information as you need. And then please, we encourage you to work individually with your school counselor. We are hoping to make this process as enjoyable and fulfilling as possible.